Oh, hello everyone. I'm Pastor William Henley.
Pastor Tristan.
Yep, and
Where are we?
we're in Arkansas, Hot Springs.
Fun.
Yeah, and one of the things is we're good friends. We like to take trips together. Unfortunately, that usually happens on the weekends and
Move
stuff.
your head down a little bit. Looks like it was cutting your head off.
It is. If I
Maybe.
keep back a bit like that.
That works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edit.
No edits. These are going live. Well, we're not live, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, we're here. We haven't done a faith talk since last time we kind of took a trip together, which, well, not the last time, but back in Abilene.
Was that the last time?
Yeah, August.
Been a while.
Yeah. So I got life updates. I don't think Tristan has many.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, no.
Okay, so with me, I had to deal over the past few months with mental health, and most of this had to do with medication I was on. And turns out that the medication was causing like all sorts of like psychiatric problems.
It was bad.
Yeah. And the thing is I mean, I just thought I was like losing my mind and stuff like that. I had no clue that what I was going through could be caused by side effects from the medication. And so yeah, I actually went through over probably about 2 years of me just thinking I was like losing my mind. I was just going off randomly at people who were my friends. I was constantly paranoid, delusional, had issues with, with me just like completely not remembering events and stuff. Like, this actually happened at work where I said, I got on to my boss for putting out a new policy procedure or whatever, and me not knowing anything about it and being held accountable for it. And she pulled up the documentation, and I'm the one who wrote the documentation.
Yeah, and I remember him telling me that too.
Yeah. And I was just like, just completely floored by that, and I mean, there's like other stuff, like I said, just constantly paranoid.
You keep talking, I'm gonna pull up something.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what once it happened when over Thanksgiving. I went out to my parents' house, and they weren't able to refill my prescription for that med before I left, and so I went like 10 days without it, and then got back on it and had like some of the worst illusions and stuff like that I'd ever had. And all of a sudden, that's when I started putting it together. And so I'm off of those meds now, and I'm on new stuff, which is so much better. It's like I got a new life.
Yeah, and I also want to add something. It was to the point where I was really just thinking about if I needed to do a welfare check on him, to actually call the police department, because it was getting that bad. But then I was like, well, I'm gonna trust God. I'm gonna let God do his thing, do what he's good at, and then here we are now.
Yeah. So that's and the thing is it kind of came up slowly and stuff, but there's also like a history of mental illness on my mom's side of the family. And I know, like, my uncle, like, before he passed away, he was just completely delusional. I mean, he would be like they'd catch him like hiding out in the shed and stuff, like in his underwear and like with a gun, like the Nazis are coming, the Nazis are coming.
That's dangerous too.
Yeah. And Alzheimer's, dementia, goes back generations on my mom's side of the family. And so I was just sitting here just absolutely terrified. So I didn't want to say anything because I was afraid I was going to lose, my job. I was going to be kicked out of school. I was going to,
Which could have also been a side effect of the medicine too, the paranoia.
Yeah. And well, it was.
Mhm.
And so it's like I had no clue what was going on. So uh, yeah, like I said, I just want to mention that if anyone's kind of going through that, basically make sure you take a list of the medications you're on to your doctor, because like the medication I'm on is one of the most common side effects.
I
And
was on the medication. I wasn't as severe, but I did experience things to the level.
you had a cousin who actually was institutionalized
Hmm.
from it,
Yeah,
didn't you? Yeah,
yeah. I had a cousin and my brother too. One of my brothers as well. And
yeah,
so it's like everyone that takes it always has the same thing going on. So it's like I even told him that medicine should be illegal
yeah,
because there are cases of people committing suicide, and I was like, that medicine is literally a weapon.
yeah,
And you know what's also crazy is that's the same medicine that teenagers are trying to buy in high school too, and then overdosing on it. You know, it needs to be just something needs to happen. A
yeah,
lot needs to happen.
yeah. So just so yeah, like I said, make sure. And sometimes what's really bad is I don't think my medical doctor fully even understood. He was like, when I got off of it, he's like, man, you try to commit suicide. He said, you need to go talk to a psychiatrist and stuff. And I went to go talk with it because he's like, that's not a side effect of the medication. And went to talk with the psychiatrist, and they said that's 100% a side
That's
effect of the medication.
that's the number one side
Yeah.
effect.
So, like I said, my family doctor had no clue.
Nope.
So, yeah, sometimes you may need to go talk with someone like a psychiatrist or something who specializes in that. Um, so, I just don't want anyone else going through that. That was horrible. Um, so, as for me, I have one semester left after this semester of 4 classes, and then one partial, not even part time. I'm not even going to qualify as a part time student. And then I go into the writing phase of my doctorate program.
That's the fun part.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the hardest part about it is the word limit. And um, it's not the minimum word limit, it's the maximum word limit. Uh, because we cannot go over 40,000 words. And
That's it.
yeah,
Oh,
uh, cannot go over 40,000 words, which is about 80 pages. And this isn't just the essay itself. This is including footnotes, bibliography, all of that.
oh.
Citations. It cannot be
You
over
gotta
40.
put footnotes in there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Ugh.
It's a research paper.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, so they said it has to. They said it should fall between 30 to 40,000 words. So anyway, you're in about a year and a half. You guys will hopefully be calling me doctor.
Not all of us. I know you too well.
So anyway, you want to talk anything going on in the church?
Actually, well, just for a little heads up into the future, I have one more series. Well, we are going to finish another Jesus when we get back. That's the next message next week. So we are going to get that finished. By we, I mean me. And then I'm going to take a week off of that, and then I'm going to get into a end time series that I'm calling the Sign of the Times. And this is going to be the only time you hear me preach about the end times. It's not that I don't like to talk about it. I think it's important to talk about it, but I don't want to focus on it because then it feels like we're too focused on the end times and how we're going to live for God for the right now.
Mm.
No.
It's actually one of my complaints. One of my complaints with Seventh Day Adventists is they do like a series on it like every year, and it's
They
like
do like conferences. There's a conference going on every day about the end times, and I get it. It's important, but it's not
right.
that important. It's not more important than salvation. We need to preach salvation
Right.
more.
Right. And one of my personal convictions is like I may talk about the end times maybe once every few years because end time prophecy, because to me, well, for one thing, there's a lot of vagueness to it,
There
and
is.
for thousands of years, people have sit here and started saying, "Oh, hey, that prophecy refers to this. Oh, this prophecy refers to that."
1883, Seventh-day Adventists had 2 people do it. Their own founder tried to do it.
Oh, and didn't their own founder actually say that I didn't get it wrong, Jesus got it wrong?
Basically said that it's not my fault, it's God's fault because he's the one that told it to me. Basically said that God lied and changed his mind, which is heresy in my opinion, because God cannot change and God cannot change his mind. Now God can repent, which means, hang on, how does that verse go? You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
No, I think this is one of those things where I get where you're coming from. It's
God repented Bible verse.
But
hang on, guys.
Because God changed his mind several times. Like with the destruction of Israel, Moses called out and God changed his mind. Talks about, the woman who Jesus was refusing to heal her daughter, and she just kept begging and begging and begging.
But what I was trying to get out of it
is his character doesn't change.
She made it because the information about God, the Bible, none of that's going to change. She made it sound like the information about God is going to change.
Yeah.
The information we have is never going to change.
Yeah. So basically where it says, I am the Lord, I never change, it's talking about the character of God. It doesn't mean that God can't change his mind. And it means
his forgiveness, his love, all of that's never going to change.
Yeah.
But so, and then so we're going to get into that, and then I have no clue what's going to go on after that because I'm not the one in charge, sadly. I wish I was. But I actually wanted to read a post that I showed Pastor Will that I really felt like I needed to read. And the post says, and this is from a well-known actor. If I said his name, many of you would probably know who he is. He plays on Young Sheldon. He plays Georgie. I don't know if I told you that. But he made this post, and it said, "Teach your children to pray, so if their little hearts feel heavy, they can go to God and not the world."
Is that how you posted that?
Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's a very smart person, like
I had no clue.
His mother in the show.
Wow.
So, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the post and the comments that people said. So, now I'm gonna put this in the sermon in the future, and I did black out the names because that is respectful. You should always do that.
Mm-hmm.
But so the first comment says, "If you love your children, you would never, in all capitals, never teach them how to pray. Brainwashing them into believing in a superstition is cruel abuse." So let me put it to you this way. So saving your kid's life for eternity is abuse. That's basically what they are saying. And then the person replied to that saying believing in God is not abuse. And I 100% believe with that. Next one says, "Stop brainwashing kids into believing snakes, donkeys, and bushes can talk." Now hang on. I want to take a moment and talk about that. The Bible talks about a snake multiple times. Who does the Bible prefer as a snake? Lucifer. So I think it's very funny that that person said snakes in it. Clearly, all of those comments to me are coming from the devil. Because who wouldn't want kids? Kids are the most gullible people, and that's a good thing because that means they wear their hearts on their sleeve. It's a good thing to be gullible. But kids are so gullible that they can fall into a cult, and that's why a lot of kids grow up staying in the same cult their whole life. But so let me keep reading. So then it continues to say, "If you choose to be gullible enough to think bushes talk to people, that's on you. Believe the kids out of your cult." Like I said, many things about that, but I'm not going to. Mm-hmm. So, and then this next one, I actually thought was really interesting. So when you tag a name on Facebook, it's usually highlighted blue, so you know it's a tag. So this was all blue. And it says, "Kind of disgusting, you worship a god that knocks up a teenage virgin." Which, not even going to go into that. And so then there's 2 replies to that one. The first reply says, "Why would God allow children or anyone to suffer? With all the bad in the world, I can't believe in a God." And the final one says, "It's better to not lie to your children." So I'm going to focus on the last one I just read. The sermon I'm going to preach between Another Jesus and Sign of the Times is going to be called, "Why Does Good Things Happen to Good People?" Because clearly we've all asked that question. If God is so good, why does all this negativity keep happening around us? Well, I actually want to take you back to Genesis. Genesis 3, I believe, is the garden, right?
Yeah, because 1 and 2 is creation.
Yeah, so Satan basically manipulated Adam and Eve to take the tree, or to eat from the tree. that God clearly said not to. So what I really think, I mean, all this negativity, I honestly think it's from the devil, because Paul clearly states that we have an enemy and that he walks around like a roaring lion, because he does. And he will, any chance that he gets to attack, he will attack. And that's why it's so important to remember the faithfulness of God and to remember that God is so good no matter what you go through. And so, and it breaks my heart when people make comments like that, because I'm like, you are literally rejecting the person that loves you more than you love yourself.
Mm.
And then here you are just teaching your kids that God is this evil, vengeful God, when in reality, you're the evil and vengeful person, because you're the one that's keeping them from eternity. It's mind-boggling. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But
And the thing is most of this like complete hate toward the church are probably from people who have been abused by spiritual leaders.
Yep, and I think that's one of the reasons why God says he judges the leaders in the church more harshly.
Mhm.
Like, he literally says that he has our names written on his hand, I think. You know, so, and it's so sad, because we have the most power in the church. Not the entire church, but Mercy Life Church. So if anyone would have come up to us, we would have the power to decide what will happen. So that means we could do anything with that power, but we choose to do good with the power, because that's what God would want. And I hope I continue to choose good with the power that God has given me, because it can be taken away at any minute. But basically, that's all I have.
So lots going on in the world right now. Would you like to talk about what happened on March 31st?
I was waiting for that. March 31st is now a national holiday in the United States. I don't exactly know the name of the holiday, but basically what I got from it is Transgender Awareness Day.
Mhm.
That's basically what I got from it. Now, I have many issues, but my biggest issue is us Christians, we have Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and then, Passover, all that. If you want to come to Passover as a holiday, okay, go ahead. We have 3 days out of the entire year to celebrate Jesus, but they get an entire month, they meaning Pride, LGBTQ, they get an entire 30 days to have all these parades, to cause all this drama, to do everything. But if we get an entire month, they're going to get us canceled. People want to cancel the church. I'm to the point where I want to cancel lukewarm Christians, because that word has been coming up so much lately. And we live in a lukewarm society. Oh, that's a good song. But we live in a lukewarm society where it's okay to love Jesus and sin at the same time. It's okay to love Jesus and be gay at the same time. Which, I'm not saying that it's not okay to love Jesus and be gay, but if you truly are doing all that you can to love Jesus, then your love for him is going to turn into love for his word, and then his word is what changes your life. I actually read a quote, and it said, you need to love the word of God so much that it changes your life more than he does. And it's true. If you love God that much, then that gayness and homosexuality won't go away. You can't just pray the gay away. That's not possible. Trust me, I've tried. It's not that hard, or it's not that easy.
I think it's kind of funny that they came up with this whole idea of pray the gay away, because you can't really pray away like any of your other type of lust or anything like that. I mean, Paul even talks about, a thorn in his flesh. We don't know what it was, but he prayed again and again and again for, God to take it away, and he never did. And it could be anything. Some people think it was his eyesight. But I don't think a thorn in the flesh is, because I think if it was his eyesight, Paul would have said it was his eyesight.
Yeah, why would he use thorn? That just doesn't make sense.
I would say it was probably a temptation of the flesh.
Yes. And what people don't realize, a lot of people think that pastors and leaders in the church are pure people. But there's a difference between being pure and being unholy. Big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference. I'm not going to get into that now. I'm actually about to get into the holiness of God in the next Another Jesus message.
Well, and I know one of the things I've talked about is that there is a big difference between having bad thoughts and then acting upon.
Something that I say, and a lot of people don't agree with it until you think about it. There's a difference between homosexual behavior and homosexual thoughts. Big difference. A thought's in your mind, an action, something that you did. And think about it. For any time, you had a temptation or anything, But once you do it, you feel horrible about yourself. You feel so bad, so why do it? But let me also say this: it's not that easy. It is not that easy. And coming from a person who struggles every single day with some type of temptation, it's not easy to get out of temptation. And temptation doesn't have to be pornography or sugar. Temptation can be anything that tempts you to do something bad. Eating a cupcake can be temptation.
I'm going to throw this out there. How late was I yesterday in picking you up? Okay, so I said we are going to leave between 9 and 10. Now, first of all, I actually had trouble because I worked the night before. I worked second shift. And so I did have my alarm set for 8. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm so tired because it was after 2 before I got to sleep. I'm like, I got a 5-hour drive ahead of me. I'm just going to turn the alarm off.
Yeah.
The thing is I still woke up at 8:30. But I didn't pick him up until after 11. And you want to know the reason why? I decided to pick up my phone. Oh, I'll pick up your phone. Pick up your phone. Ignore Tristan's identification card. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go in and just launch my game, collect my offline reward, and get off.
It didn't happen like that.
An hour later, I realized just how much time I'd spent on that game. And I thought it was only about 5 or 10 minutes that I was on it. But the thing is I know I got on at 8:30. I know it was 9:40 when I got off.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, how much time am I wasting? And the thing is it's not like like a game like playing Last of Us or Hogwarts Legacy or something like that, where I'm sitting here like involved in it. It was a game on my phone where I just sit here and just kind of like mindlessly tap on the screen.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, there were times I wanted to message you, but I was like, you know what? No, I'll wait it out and see what happens. But
I think it was kind of better that you didn't, because I think I needed to come to that realization on my own.
That's what I figured out, because I'm like, when I do things like this, I need to realize what I did wrong instead of other people pointing it out. Because 1, it's annoying when other people point it out. 2, sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Yeah. So, now, that being said, it's not like we had to be here at a certain time or anything like that. This is a really laid-back weekend. So it was just to get away. I do have some homework I need to get done.
Probably do that next.
Yeah, I'll probably end up doing that like after dinner. But yeah.
Finish your thought.
Oh, I was going to go into other stories, but let's go ahead and
back to that. Why do bad things happen to good people? Which I don't know if that's the title of the message, but I have 2 titles: the draft title and the final draft title, which a lot of pastors actually do that, I found out. But in the sermon, I actually decided to talk about something that you don't hear a lot of people talk about, and it's not. I don't think that people realize how much you need to talk about it. 2 things. 1, we have the worst healthcare system, in my opinion, in the entire world, and I'll go into that here in a sec. 2, the U.S. government, in my opinion,
it's not the worst, but it
could be there.
Let's just say, in first world countries, it is the worst. Because you go to some third world country and it's non-existent.
Oh, yeah. But, and then secondly, this is not for the entire U.S. government, so don't get mad at me, Biden. But certain states care more about the money than the people. And so you're probably wondering, where am I going with this? August 2006, August 26, 2005, the biggest hurricane, probably one of the biggest hurricanes in the world, hit the United States, and it mostly hit Mississippi, Louisiana, and a couple other places. I can't remember where else, but it really, 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 really hit Louisiana, and really hit the Baton Rouge and New Orleans area.
Well, it was so big. Texas got hit, Alabama got hit.
And
it was
people across we're just getting a butt ton of rain.
Which, for those of you who are older, he's talking about Katrina.
Yeah, I was about to get into that. So I am talking about Hurricane Katrina. And the reason I want to talk about this is I've been researching it the past couple of days. Once I get into a topic, I research the crap out of that topic. That's why
It's actually, I think it's part of the autism because
agree.
you focus.
I agree. And it's part of one of those things where it's just like, wow. And so a lot of people wondering, over 500 kids lost their life. By kids, I mean under the ages of 10. And that's not just New Orleans, that's throughout the whole entire thing. But people were doing unspeakable crimes to one another. I'm not even going to get into it. And you probably know about the Superdome incident, which I'll get into that in the sermon too. But there's this hospital called Charity Hospital, and it was the oldest hospital in Louisiana at the time. I actually said the world at the time because it was made in the 1500s. And it was a beautiful hospital.
Probably the oldest continuously operating hospital.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Christians started hospitals like back in like the Middle Ages and stuff.
I can see that, yeah. But the issue with this hospital, after the whole Katrina thing, they had to evacuate and everything. Of course they did. You know, water was reaching the fifth floor of the hospital, which is insane to think about. But after the evacuation, they got in and they cleaned up everything, and they're like, okay, we're ready to go. Let's continue this like nothing happened. Well, the city didn't like that idea. The state of Louisiana was like, nah, we can just shut the doors. And they're like, hang on. So the reason why the name is Charity Hospital is because they only rely on charity. When you go and get healthcare, you don't pay a dime out of your pocket. No insurance, anything. Charity pays for everything. And it was a Catholic Charities actually. And it was beautiful. But after that, all of the money that they had put together had to go to the hurricane. They couldn't put any money towards the hospital. And so they were like, it's going to take $26 million to get this hospital up and running again. And the city was like, oh, we're just going to build a brand new $55 million hospital. But what I don't get is it was only going to take $26 million to not even rebuild, but just to get the place looking nice. But they want to build a whole new thing for $50 million. Why? Because newer hospital means new and more money. So I'm getting out of this is many people lost their life because of Katrina and because of the decisions that they made to just get rid of the hospital. Now, I'm going to show photos and all of that in the sermon, but you will notice that the hospital is not too far from the Superdome. People were shooting off guns at the Superdome. They were doing other unspeakable acts as well. So those people noticed there's a hospital. What's in the hospital that drug addicts are going to want more than anything? Good medicine. So a lot of people were bringing it to the hospital and just ransacking the place, fighting nurses, trying to kill people just for the fun of it. Why in the world are you going to care about killing people when there's a hurricane that could probably even kill you? I don't get it. I feel bad for mankind because we're definitely going downhill. And it's not going to get better. So, for more information on Hurricane Katrina, you can always go online, of course. But if you want to know what I know and what I've learned, then wait until next month.
And it's kind of funny thinking about that. You were about 7 months old when that hit. So yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it quite well. I mean, I was older than you are now when it happened, and I just remember because so many people evacuated and stuff. We DFW and Houston were the two main areas people.
I can see that.
And DFW actually grew by about 30,000 within a week or two.
Yep. Yep. And I'm actually going to spend the longest talking about Katrina at the sermon. It's going to be the closing, because there's just so much people don't know.
Yeah.
Even till this day, there are things that I'm finding out that I'm like, and people don't know this because they're just now finding it out. And it's just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, and what's actually really amazing about Charity Hospital is the nurses and doctors basically did a rally to the city. If you're not going to help this hospital, we will. So it's amazing to see people like that who go above and beyond, because they weren't getting paid for Katrina, they literally had nothing to lose when Katrina was happening. They had nothing to lose but their life, and they still helped people. It is unbelievable.
So let's get back into politicians
Yes.
making stupid theological decisions. So Tristan doesn't know about this because he doesn't follow this news story.
Oh,
So going to get into the war in Ukraine.
oh,
And apparently, the Russian government has now required all priests and pastors to open up every single service with a prayer to God to bring victory to the Holy Russian Empire.
holy.
Holy Russian Empire.
That sounds okay. That is when I would move to another country. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, and if they don't, forget about even speaking out against the war. If they don't perform this prayer, they will get defrocked.
Oh boy, am I happy I live here. Well, not here, but yeah.
Let's put it this way: in 2022, when the war with the second round of the war with Ukraine started, because really the first round started in 2014, but when the second one started, Ukraine actually pulled away from the Russian Orthodox Church and the Eastern Orthodox, and they're now completely Protestant, and they dropped. In fact, in the Russian and
You
Eastern
continue.
in the Russian and Eastern Orthodox Church, like stuff like Christmas is celebrated on January 7th.
Oh?
Yeah, it's celebrated January 7th. Well, let's just say that Ukraine, that first year of 2022, moved Christmas to December 25th.
Oh.
Yeah, they now celebrate Easter the same time that the Western Church does, rather than when the Eastern Church does.
Interesting.
In fact, if you know Eastern Orthodox, I think it's coming up here in
I saw something on Facebook
yeah,
about that.
Orthodox Easter's coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I saw.
So but I'll tell you this: what a lot of people don't know is Ukraine is one of the most Christian nations in all of Europe.
And that's why they're being attacked like they are. The more Christian you are, the more attacks you're going to get.
It is. You can go online and still watch. I tuned in to Hillsong Kiev in a war-torn country, and they're still sitting here producing services there like any megachurch in other megachurch in the world.
And it looks like they were still pretty full, like any other megachurch in the world.
They were packed.
Yeah.
Um,
And it kind of makes sense for people in a war to want to be closer to God than further. It makes much sense.
yeah. There's actually videos online of people in storm shelters singing praise songs.
Yeah.
So it's it's just absolutely amazing. What's really sad about this war is it's literally a genocide, not just against Ukraine, but Putin. There are over 100 ethnicities that live in Russia, and guess what? Putin is sending the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Slavics to the front line.
Yep.
He's sending mostly the Asians and mostly the Arabs and stuff like that.
What does that sound like?
Yeah, he's sending them to the front line with very little training, almost no ammunition, and telling them that if they retreat, they're going to be killed.
My thing is, Putin, if you want to do this, why aren't you sending your own family, your friends, people you love, people you know?
Yeah, so it's not just, oh, we want Ukraine's land. He's also doing an ethnic cleansing of Russia.
Yep, he's basically saying only my kind is allowed to live here.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what Hitler did.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's really sad. And preparing for the sermon,
It just occurred to me that even talking about this, we may be Well, I mean, we're not monetized, but we could be our
Put it,
recommendations.
put it in the name.
Yeah.
But, when I was preparing for the sermon, because I mentioned it to Will a couple weeks ago that I want to do it, and I was like, what can I talk about though? And then I found out Katrina, and then he started talking about bomb shelters. Israel is always being faced with some difficulty, always. And this last October, they had one of the worst attacks they've ever had, with over 1,200 people dying. So that's another one I probably should mention.
We were talking today about how useless the United Nations is, because the United Nations is literally telling Israel, well, not just Israel, they're telling Ukraine to basically just step down, be pacifists, and just stop the war, just do peace with these people. And it's like,
Only feels that easy.
we were at peace until y'all invaded us. It's like, it's just crazy. But back on like the Russian side, Poland, Estonia, and I think Finland are right now. They are gearing up their troops to go to war, and this just happened in the past 24 hours. France, Britain, and Northern Europe are sending troops into Ukraine. These are NATO nations sending troops to Ukraine. No longer just training the troops, no longer just sending weapons. They are sending their own troops into Ukraine. So yeah, there's going to be war with Russia.
Yeah.
And we can sit here and try to avoid it. The question isn't if it's going to happen. The question is, when is it going to happen?
Yep. I hope there's not another world war. That's the last thing we need right now.
Yeah.
Which I won't be surprised if it happens.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's see. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, and it's getting dark, and the
And
bags
truly.
are coming out.
Hey man, and I also wish y'all had the view that we had. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful where we are.
Yeah.
That's the hotel right there. We're literally right by the lake. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I was looking at staying at a hotel in town, and I said, well, Tracy, I said, do you want to stay at this nice, beautiful, luxury hotel from the 1920s in town, or do you want to stay in a Hilton by the lake? And he said, I want to stay by the lake.
Yeah.
Of course, today he went and saw the historic hotel, and he said, we're staying there next time.
Oh, we are.
We actually had lunch there today. It was a beautiful place. Those of you who have been to Hot Springs, of course, we're talking about the Arlington. The Arlington is an absolutely beautiful hotel.
Oh, yeah, totally. And the service is even better.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess we're going to sign off. And hey, one of the shortest videos we've ever done, 38 minutes.
Yeah. Let's stop talking then.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Pastor, you want to pray us out?
Sure. Father, I want to thank you for this time you've given us. I pray that you just help us to speak your word boldly, and I just pray that you just help all of us. I just pray that you just help the United States become a better healthcare system, and I just pray that you be with everybody else facing difficult times. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.